Hey, I'm Bill Beretta, and you're watching a podcast where nostalgia comes alive. It's Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. Roll it!
Welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, the podcast where nostalgia comes alive. Since July of 2021, Jake and his friends have interviewed professionals in the worlds of acting, directing, writing, puppeteering, and many more. Who will they be chatting with in this week's interview? Find out in this Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. Happy to be here with us. Thank you for joining. As always, I'm your host, Jake Deffinbaugh. With me today, as always, our co-hosts, Chris Bixby and Matt Bingel. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Doing good. Hello, everybody. How are you, Jake?
I'm doing great, Matt. Thank you for asking.
Excellent. Who do we have today?
Today's guest we have for today, he's a freelance puppeteer and voice actor who has occasionally worked on Henson and Muppet productions, which we will touch base on later. Where he's over his career, including Dinosaurs, Adventures of Timmy the Tooth, Greg the Bunny, Barbarian and Troll, and many others we to touch base on later. Please welcome Mr. James Murray. Happy to have you here, James. Welcome. Happy to have you here.
Good to be here.
Happy to have you here.
Yes, happy to be here.
You guys are my
Yes,
first,
absolutely.
my first big Zoom interview.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Mhm.
Wow.
That's cool. Nice.
That's
Wow.
cool. Under no pressure at all. No pressure.
What's our
Okay.
pleasure to have you here then?
No,
Yes.
we're very happy to have you.
Yes.
No, I'm glad you guys asked. It was great to hear from you.
Of course.
Nice. Of course.
Yes, our pleasure. So, to kick things off, we know who you are, but for those who haven't, could you tell our audience a little bit about yourself and what you do?
I am a puppeteer and voiceover actor, sometimes on camera. Years ago, I did commercials and theater and would go out for things like that. But mostly it's been puppeteering and voices, yeah, for a number of years.
Nice.
Very nice. So, what was your childhood like, and how did you grow up?
I grew up in the Midwest, which is a suburb called Oak Lawn. It's south side of Chicago. And it felt like I had a great childhood. It's like a block away from my school, from like kindergarten to eighth grade, all the same school, same kids. I had a paper route when I was a kid all the way into high school. And yeah, and just had a lot of friends. And then I was starting in freshman year, one of my best friends, we started a rock band and I was the lead singer for that.
Oh, nice.
And and then I don't know how I found the ad, but it was a job for Puppeteer for the Cole Marionettes. And they toured around high schools and libraries and things like that. And they were marionettes, and I'd never done marionettes. I had never done puppets before. But I auditioned and got it and learned how to do marionettes. And that was my first puppet job with the
Nice.
Cole Marionettes.
Nice. So in terms of like wanting to have a career in, puppetry and acting, were those always something like you wanted to do?
Acting, singing. When I was out in California, when I moved from Chicago to California, I was doing acting and improv and taking acting classes and doing extra work and doing kids' birthday parties to pay the rent. And that's when I met Kevin Carlson. He and
Oh,
I met
nice.
at a party,
Nice,
and
love Kevin.
he put in his fake teeth, and it was love at first bite. Good night. So we hit it off, and little did we know we would create a show that had bite. And then he turned me on. I had this kids entertainment company doing birthday parties and stuff, and my partner at the time was part of a theater company, and he's like, "Hey, we should do a puppet show for your kids' company and maybe get it into the theater." And that's when we created the Timmy the Tooth variety show. So, and I think when we were doing that, it might have been before. He was working on Pee Wee's Playhouse, and he said, "Hey, there's this puppet thing. It's non-union. I can't do it. I'm working on Pee Wee's." It was the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
500 years ago. We did like 90 million episodes
Mhm.
for a nickel, and it was so much fun. And it was my first puppet job.
Nice.
And so, yeah, Kevin Carlson has been a huge part of my puppetry career for sure.
That's great.
Mhm.
Yeah, we love Kevin. He's a, as we said before we got on here, he's a good friend and previous guest as well.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, great guy. So now, early on in your career, you worked on the Jim Henson series, Dinosaurs. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, I think it was like 3 episodes. Um, we were just all talking about that, how for that, when they did auditions, they did a workshop for a week. And from that workshop, which was led by Brian, and then we would find out who was gonna get on the show. And we didn't, we didn't get any of the lead characters, but got to come in and work on a few episodes, which was fun. I had an episode called, I think, When Food Goes Bad, Michael Earl. And I worked on that. Yeah, it was amazing to be part of that, even just a little bit.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
Dinosaurs is a wonderful show.
Yeah.
So, now one of your most well-known roles in the puppet world was on The Adventures of Timmy the Tooth, which you co-created, as well as puppeteering the Cavity Goon and various other characters. What was your part in creating it?
Well, Kevin and I created that, the bones of that, um, or the enamel. Okay. That was the root of the show, was the Timmy the Tooth variety show that Kevin and I did. And Dina Farboni helped us get into the theater and was one of the producers, as well as Kevin's wife. But then the three of us, Dina and Kevin and I, developed it into a show, The Adventures of Timmy the Tooth. And it was the three of us. And we got seed money for that. We had an investor, and Drew Massey
I would
helped
love Drew,
design a lot
yeah.
of the
Ah, Drew.
characters
True,
that we
yes.
took out to pitch. And we took it everywhere. We took it everywhere, and Universal felt like it was the right home for us.
Nice.
Plus the fact, when we pitched them the idea, and Kevin would do Timmy, and I had Brush, which was just like something from Home Depot that I put eyes on, was from our live show. And we had all this music, and we told a little story with the giant pictures that we had, and pitched the show. And like, our first meeting was with like 2 people. And then we got our second meeting, they called us back, and it was like 18 people. It was the heads of every department in the studio. And yeah, they bought it. And it was very exciting,
Awesome.
very exciting to sell a show. So, you know,
Oh
Nice.
yeah. Absolutely. So, do you have any favorite Timmy the Tooth episodes or songs?
God, favorite episode. Well, Lost My Brush was one of my favorites.
That's a good one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I directed that one too. That might have been.
Hmm.
Maybe that's why it's one of my favorites. But it was just super. It was super sweet too. He loses the brush, runs away, chasing butterflies, and the Cavity Goon and Sweetie are like, "Oh, this is our opportunity to catch that nasty little brush." um, and there was the song. Have you seen him, my best friend? Where did he go? I mean, just, would give us tears every time we would hear that. Yeah,
Uh,
that was a good
Uh,
one. I mean, they all had there was pieces of all of them that were really special to us, like a little piece. But for me, I think that was my favorite.
nice. Yeah, there are a lot of good ones.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So moving on to more of your film work, what was it like getting to playing the Splinter in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3?
Yeah, that was I can't even remember how I got the audition. Um, I don't think I had an agent. It might have been Kevin. I mean, uh, so I auditioned for that and then got it. And it wasn't with the Hensons. That was the first time somebody outbid them and had their own operating system, which was very similar to the Henson operating system. And it was very exciting because at that point, I don't think I had done anything major like that. And I went to Oregon for that. And it was different because with the splinter that the Hensons had done, that Kevin Clash had done, he was inside Splinter as like a puppet, and then
Right.
the animatronics were was external, someone else. The way I did it is I had an operating system where with the glove, and I could move his head and make his mouth move, and then I could do all his expressions and move his ears. And Lisa Stirs, I think, was like she had a harness and she was hidden underneath and she had like a pole and she could turn the body. So she was kind of inside. And then Tim, I forget Tim's last name. He did the arms and the hands. So there were three of us.
Hmm. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And
And
you
what's
also
interesting about that story is then shortly after that, I went back and I forget what episode it was, but I went back to Dinosaurs
oh, interesting.
and
Hmm.
had a, you know, Kevin Clash used to do that. He did that. He did Splinter. And so I
Oh
came
Right.
yeah.
back and we just kind of had a little
Love
moment there.
Kevin.
Yeah.
So wonderful. Yeah, I love Kevin too. Talented.
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely. So you also got to puppeteer in the original Men in Black film. Can you talk about working on that?
yeah, I think that was right around when we were doing Timmy, so we couldn't work on it that long. But I think it was just about a week, and it was one of the opening sequences. And I actually screenshot it because there was a news article about the actor who was in it who had passed away, and I was puppeteering his animatronic face, right? Because he was the actor, and then something happens, and then okay, let's bring in the fake head, So then I was doing that, and then something kind of strange happened to it. Um, yeah, that's all I got to do on that. Yeah, because we were doing jumping into Timmy the Tooth.
Interesting. So, in the early 90s, you started puppeteering with the Muppet on a number of things, starting with the attraction Muppet Vision 3D. Very technologically advanced for the time. What was working on that like?
That was pretty special. At the time, I was doing a live show with the Croft Puppets called The Kings of Comedy at the Sands Hotel in Vegas.
Mm,
And it was in the old Sands Hotel, the Copa Room, which is where the Frank Sinatra and Count Basie and the Brat Pack, they all did their thing. So that was pretty fantastic to be on the same stage as them. And so we puppeteered these human-esque looking puppets that the Crofts had, and then the voice actors were off to the side, and we lip synced or lip sync. We lip synced to their performances, and Mondays were dark, so there was a audition for Muppet Vision 3D, and I remember coming in, and there were a couple of other puppeteers who got called in. It's at the Debbie Reynolds studio in Lancashire, North Hollywood, and ended up getting it. Said, "Yeah, you got the gig." And so I had to go back and tell my puppet captain and Sid and Marty Croft that I got this gig with the Hensons and I need to go for a week. And they said, well, if you go, you don't have a job when you come back. So, and I was getting my SAG card. And I didn't have my SAG card at the time. And I was like, oh my God, I'm getting my SAG card from Jim Henson. I'm going. So I didn't have a job when I got back, but what a wonderful week that was working with Jim and all those puppeteers. It's kind of a fuzzy memory, but I do remember it was pretty great.
Right, and since you just mentioned Jim, that kind of is a perfect kind of segue into the next question. Can you describe kind of what Jim was like and what working with him was like?
Well, I didn't have a lot of experience working with Jim, but I do recall how he was directing that. And it was a cast of thousands with all the puppeteers in these big group shots. And just to see him throw on something or grab something and just jump in there right in the fray with everybody, and just that kind of magic that was alive with him back then was palpable. You could just feel it. It's like it was pretty cool that he was jumping in there.
That's wonderful. So, another early Muppet project you worked on is the direct-to-video production Muppet Classic Theater. What was that like?
Mhm. That was pretty great. It was basically, background kind of things. It's pretty much been my role on the ladder with the Muppets is part of the core group, the ensemble, which has been, it was pretty great while it lasted. And that's what that was. Super fun. And I remember, and I don't know, maybe Kevin Carlson did a story about there was big rules. Just keep the drinks and the fluids, get them away from the monitors. We don't want anything to happen. And then, of course, Frank Oz has a cup of coffee on top of the big monitor, and he spilled it. And the TV just went, it just was
Oh my
smoking.
gosh.
There's
Oh.
fire coming out of it. It's just like
Come on,
even
Frank.
even the
on,
masters make a mistake like that.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
These are the memories.
Oh man.
Poor Frank.
Yeah.
So moving ahead in time a little bit, you also got to puppeteer in the 2011 Muppets film. Do you have any favorite scenes that you did in that?
The 2011, that was a Muppet movie. It was a musical,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep, the one
Yep.
with Jason
And
The one
Segel.
with Jason
with Jason
Segel and
Segel.
Amy Adams.
That was so great to take over Hollywood Boulevard and to be a part of that and to just be a little character. I don't even remember what it was, but the whole street taken over and they're coming down and dancing, and they had all the dancers, and just, you know, being in this business for as long as I have been, and still feel like a little kid. Like, wow, it's so amazing. You got this whole street blocked off, and all the dancing and choreography. It was movie magic, and just to be a part of that was pretty special. Yeah,
Yes, love 2011.
It's a
Film
great
is so
movie.
great.
it was really a really fun movie, and fun to be a part of that.
That's wonderful.
Absolutely. And
And the downtime, which there generally is a lot of downtime, just hanging out with the puppeteers. Um, some of the best people in the world are
oh yes.
puppeteers, the greatest
Oh yeah.
people, and yeah, my dearest friends. So it's always a gift to like get to work together.
Definitely. And speaking of working with a lot of puppeteers, you also puppeteered on a number of episodes in the ABC Muppet series. What was that show
Yes,
like?
that was super fun. I think I worked on like every episode except maybe one or two. Um, and that was, wow, incredible. Um, that felt less, I mean, it's still ensemble, right? But it felt
Yeah.
less ensemble because we were all so close together in the office, in the chairs. We're, playing little characters, getting little moments with a character that has a look or something. Which was really great. And you're working with live actors, getting to assist Kermit or assist Bill Beretta on something, or fill in like those big crowd scenes around the production table with all the characters. They can't do all their characters, right? So
Because I mean, someone like
sometimes
Bill Beretta, he
Fozzie,
has a lot of characters, like
Oh yeah,
Rolf, the Swedish Chef, Pepe.
Pepe. Yeah.
right? Yeah, and somebody fills in for them to do the coverage, and
Yeah,
then they'll jump in and do their lines, and it's the same with Fozzie and Beaker and all that. So every once in a while, you're in like, oh, I have Fozzie Bear on my hand. Oh my God, I'm holding Beaker.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty fun. And for me, it's a lot of pressure, because you don't want to mess up.
Right.
This is their character.
Mhm.
There's a lot of care and pride that goes into creating and maintaining their character. So you want to, even if it's over your shoulder or you're not doing anything, you still have to kind of embody that for them. So
yeah, because
Mhm.
with other puppeteers we've spoken to in the past, when it comes to doubling, you always want to make sure you try and match the performance of the primary performer as much as you
yeah,
can.
yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I'm kind of curious. What was it like getting to filming commercials with the Muppets?
That's super fun. Which ones we did the Amazon. That was a commercial we did. That was fun because it's just like super compact. We're all in this little room. Super fun. Um, and Bill Beretta just coordinating all of us together was he's so nice and charming and inclusive, and felt really great to be a part of it. Um, and then what else did we do? There was another commercial. Oh yeah. This was a long time ago. We did these commercials for Disney. That
Oh
was like
yeah.
2009. And they had these
Mm.
especially these things where you can do something and contribute to the park,
Oh
contribute
yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
folks. And we did a bunch of those, and we shot at Disneyland, like 2 in the morning. There's nobody there. Just kind of took over the park. That was really, really odd to
I
be
bet.
there. And I was soon to be a dad,
Oh.
so Artie Esposito as well. He was about to be a dad. His kid was born a little bit before mine. Um, let's see. I think the very first commercial that I ever did with them was a Target commercial that Kevin and I did, and that was super fun. I think I have a
Mm.
picture of us holding a cow or something. I don't even remember what we were
Mhm.
pitching, but yeah.
There are a lot of good commercials. I'm not sure if you worked on them, but I really liked the one, the Giant Crumpet Show, which was the
Oh
one
yeah,
I think
that's right.
for
We did the crumpet.
Warburton's.
That was
Yeah,
fun.
that's a great
Yeah.
Yep.
one.
And then
Yes.
one of the later ones, there was the Facebook portal commercials.
Yeah.
I was on the Facebook, thought that was Amazon. Um, yeah, it was the Crumpets one.
Yeah, so many
I
good
mean,
ones.
it's always a dream to to get to play with everybody because we're playing.
Yeah.
Yes, and you also got to do the Muppets live appearances at the Hollywood Bowl in the O2. What were those experiences like? Because I mean I've
Like
seen clips of it
tears.
on YouTube. They're just such a wonderful performance.
I
Yes.
mean, I've used the word magic a couple of times, not to just beat it, but it was to be at the Hollywood Bowl with all of it doing it live and a live orchestra and then the fireworks
Oh my
and
gosh, yeah.
just amazing. And then when they said, "Hey, do you want to go to London and do that?" Yes. So, and um, I remember at the O2, we are we're behind the stage and we're all about to pop up for um the Rainbow Connection.
Oh,
And
yes.
we can see up and around and you see that whole huge stadium, which was full. It was packed. And everyone's got their phones and they're like waving them and it's just lit up all around. And we can see that and the puppeteer
Oh.
and we all look at each other. I mean, we were literally crying while we're holding up our puppets. It's like just a once in a lifetime experience, just once in a lifetime. It was so fun, so great. And
Oh yeah, it really is.
and all the key Muppet performers just so great with everybody and so gracious. It's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
great.
love those performances very much.
Yeah.
It's just so wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, as Chris said, we've seen clips of it on both the Hollywood Bowl and the O2. Just a spectacle. It really is.
Yeah, and it was cool that they brought back a lot of the original Muppet songs, like
Oh
Moving
yeah,
Right Along
moving
and
right along.
Rainbow Connection, of course, and
Yeah.
just all these wonderful, famous Muppet songs. Wonderful.
It was the
So
classic Muppet
yes,
Show. That's what it
Yep.
felt like. Sunday night.
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Hey,
and it was.
it's Muppet Show, but it's live.
Live.
You
Yeah.
Yeah.
know.
It really was. And that was pretty darn special. I mean, that talk about nostalgia, right? The original Muppet Show live. Um, and I grew up with that since Sunday nights. Like that's not how it goes anymore. Like, oh, here's this program. You can watch it anytime you want and you record it or stream it or do this. It was like, no, that's when it was on.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of reminds me of the Peanuts specials.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you missed it, you missed it. There
Right.
was no going back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Of course not until years later when it was, well maybe except every year with the Charlie Brown Christmas,
But
but
aren't we
most of
going back right now?
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, it was a nostalgia joke, everybody.
Yes, yes, yes. So, no, it's a wonderful, wonderful show. Both of them were Hollywood Bowl and O2. Wonderful. Moving on from the Muppets, you performed Rabbit on Telling Stories with the late great Tomie dePaola. Could you share any memories from working with him?
Uh, super nice. I think what I remembered most about that it was a super small puppet troupe. It was myself, Bill Beretta, Julianne Busher, and can't remember his name right now. And maybe a couple of others, and so it was pretty tight. So I was really learning how to assist. I got to do some characters, certainly Rabbit, and which I've never seen. I don't know if you can see it anywhere. Um, yeah, that was Greg Ballura too, I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. There's one more, and it's horrible. Here, look it up and cut it in.
Let's see.
I can't
Oh,
remember.
I just looked it up.
Horrible.
John Kennedy.
John Kennedy, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, love John. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Extremely talented.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So you also puppeteer a number of characters on the sitcom Greg the Bunny. What was it like getting to work on that?
That was a wonderful experience as well with Dan Milano and Drew Massey. Mike Mitchell directed the pilot, who was also the Barbarian and the Troll. That was great. I was actually hired as a series regular for the first time ever. And to just be there with all these celebrity, wonderful actors and to be on the same playing field with them was pretty cool. I mean, we were on the floor, so I mean, it wasn't the same playing field, because we're on the floor,
Right.
Um, but yeah, that was great to do multiple characters all the time. And then they rented some of the puppets that I had left over from Timmy the Tooth, just redressing them. Got to use them in Greg the Bunny.
Nice. And as a voice actor, you voice characters on The Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I was just talking about that with someone. Was that 98?
Somewhere
I
around
think
there,
it
yeah.
was
Something
for
like that.
Hyperion Entertainment. Again, I don't even know how I got that. Oh, I think I know how I got that. I did a pilot for Hyperion Entertainment, and Mike Mitchell directed and wrote it. It's called Chunks of Life. Nothing ever happened with it. But I think from that, Hyperion, who was producing it, brought me in and I got to do a few voices. And that
Cool.
was super fun. That's like was my first voiceover feature.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So, going back briefly to celebrities, you also did some voices on Life with Louie, which starred the late great Louie Anderson. What was that show like, and what were your favorite memories of working with Louie?
Well, I didn't work with Louie. This was again through Hyperion
Oh.
animation. I think I did a dog puppet. It was a segment that on a show that he was watching in the show, and
Okay.
it was a
Hmm.
puppet character that they ended up putting on the TV, and it was called Night Sniffer. He was a detective.
Hmm.
Um, so I didn't get to actually work with him. It's just we
Hmm.
shot these little segments, and then they put him in the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Nice.
Awesome. I'm kind of curious. What was it like getting to work on the Little Mermaid live?
Little Mermaid live. That was that was also fun. Um, Doing a live show. Never done something like that for television. Huge cast of dancers and just big choreographed numbers. So I think we might have rehearsed for like a couple of months with all the choreography and um, working out and figuring out the puppets and how we're going to do them and where they're going to place us. And I think we had, I don't know, a few days rehearsal on set and like insane, like a monster production to, again, to be a part of that and just imagine all the coordination that has to happen for something like that is immense. And to be part of that was was pretty cool. Yeah.
Hmm.
To play to wave some of the birds in at one point during one of the numbers on the ship, and then some of the fish puppets that were in the on that little rock on that little island where a bunch of the band was playing.
Yeah, those are beautiful puppets.
Yes.
They were really sweet, yeah.
Yeah,
And then one of the frogs.
nice. Really nice. So, you also, one of the more recent projects you worked on was, of course, The Barbarian and the Troll, puppeteering acts, and of course, various others on that show. Can you kind of talk a bit about that? Because, going back to Drew Massey, I know that was something he actually co-created.
Mm-hmm.
Right, he and Mike Mitchell co-created that, and we were still in the pandemic times. So,
Right, yeah,
and we had many months prior had done a like a teaser proof of concept kind of thing, and they said yes, but it just took forever, and they decided, well, we're
yeah,
going to do it in Vancouver. And so that a lot of back and forth, and that all got worked out. But we would fly there, and we were in quarantine for a week, and and then I think we started to get into rehearsals for a week and then jumped into production. But yeah, we're masked up all the time. We're getting tested twice a week, all the things, and never got shut down. So there's that part of it. Yes, I did acts. I played the dad, played Kyle, the bar owner, the Cyclops, played the unicorn that came in. I got to play lots and lots of characters, which is great fun to do
Yeah.
that. And acts was, it took me a minute. But once I figured it out, how to like manipulate and move that character, because acts is flat, right? So it's like, turn this way, it's looking this way, and then getting the mouth moving, and never really. I felt like I started to get a voice as it went on, but ended up not doing the voice anyway, because somewhere down the line they ended up, which they were doing in just a couple of my characters, recasting, excuse me. So, but what a fun character, playing an axe.
Yes, absolutely love that show.
Such a
Yes.
wonderful show. It really is.
The best. That was really, I don't know if you've talked with anybody else that worked on it, but just one of the best puppet experiences ever in my career was working on that. Working with really great people, Peggy and Colleen and Sarah, Drew, Alan Troutman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of other greats.
The best people.
Yes, we definitely talked to Drew about it. That we definitely did. We brought it up a lot. It's such a wonderful show.
Yeah.
Really was. It's still mind-boggling that it didn't get picked up.
Yes.
And it's not officially canceled. So never heard. Yep, it's done. Never got word. So maybe one day.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
It really is a great show.
Yes.
It is.
Absolutely. So since we're very close to wrapping up soon, can you share any projects you're currently working on? Of course, if you're allowed to talk about at this moment, of course.
Yeah, Kung Fu Panda 4. I did like 4 characters.
Oh wow.
It's very excited to go see that.
That's awesome.
Again, Mike Mitchell directed that. And yeah, working on just finishing getting my home studio set up and working on creating projects and writing, have a script, and these are some of my characters that one day will be on the Nostalgia Show. And yeah, there's a few other things that aren't talkable yet, but certainly the Kung Fu Panda is very exciting. It's to be part of a feature film of that caliber is really exciting. And I get to bring my daughter to the screening. So
that's great.
I get
That's
the cool
wonderful.
dad,
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah,
So that's
she
cool.
she her just gonna watch it when you worked on the few characters, but like,
well, and she and
let's
I
go
did,
see it.
Yeah, she and I did. You're probably familiar with GLOP, right? The Glorious Ladies of Puppetry.
Yes.
And they did a short film festival 48 this past weekend, and I did a thing with my daughter. So we wrote it and shot it and cut it in too short a time. But I got to learn how to use not Final Cut, but Premiere. So it was a big learning curve all the way around. And my daughter was puppeteering and us writing together. She's 14. So we'll see what happens, if anything comes of that. But that was super fun to do a project and cut it together in such a short amount of time. I don't think I need to do that again. I think I like taking my time.
Yeah. Yep, totally understandable. Speaking of GLOP, we recently had Donna Kimball on our show. We talked a lot about that and the film festival
Donna,
itself.
Yes,
really
fantastic.
amazing.
My goodness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
absolutely
many credits on one belt. Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful puppeteer. So to wrap this up, the last question that Matt here is going to ask is the question we ask all of our guests at the end. Go ahead, Matt.
Thank you very much, Chris. This podcast is called Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. When you think of nostalgia, what do you think of? Or in your own words, how do you define the word nostalgia?
Nostalgia. For me, it also feels like melancholy. It feels like the Andy Griffith Show. Opie Taylor and his dad, the sheriff of the small town. It just feels comfortable and familiar and safe.
Nice, great words to end on. That's wonderful.
That's
Well,
great.
well, James, thanks again for taking the time to do this. This was a blast.
Yes,
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yes, of course, and thank you so much for what you've done over the years to be a part, what you've done to be a part of our worlds, and keep up the great work we're doing now, and cannot wait what's next in store for you.
Great. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank
keep
you.
in touch. I'll
Pleasure.
let you know when this goes up.
Okay. Thanks.
All right,
Of course,
Bye-
our pleasure.
bye.
Take care, James. Bye.
Bye.
bye. It's goodbye from us as well. We absolutely enjoyed our time speaking with James Murray. Links to his social media will be in the description down below for anyone who wants to connect with him or check out his work.
Yes.
But it's goodbye from us as well. Keep on the lookout for more wonderful interviews coming your way. And as always, what do we say, Jake?
Keep nostalgia alive. Take care, everyone. See you next time. See ya. Bye.
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 Thank you for tuning in to another wonderful Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show interview. Be sure to follow Jake and the crew on social media and stream the show wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And as always, remember to keep nostalgia alive. Bye-bye.